These need to have their stats swapped. It makes no sense for an Artificer variant to have the highest speed. Balanced Chainsword is utterly useless due to having 1 speed. It would make much more sense for it to be faster than the fencing version, like it is with the knife. Oh, the balanced version of the Chainsword being faster than the fencing version. Yeah, I mean, I agree. So, this is weird though, this is weird. The Artificer blocking Chainsword has 6+ speed. And for an Artificer weapon, I think this is like the strongest Artificer weapon in the game. And specifically this blocking variant of the Chainsword may be one of the best blocking weapons in the game also. And the reason why this is a little bit controversial, obviously, is because it's Artificer tier. And then if we have a look at the balanced Chainsword here, it has 1 speed. There's no reason why a Relic weapon should have 1 speed. That is kind of unacceptable. But with that said, I mean, we do have a 6+ speed blocking Artificer Chainsword right here, so. No, but seriously though, the balanced speed should definitely be buffed a bit. It shouldn't be buffed into 6+, but it should be buffed a bit. I'm curious to see what the Relic blocking Chainsword is definitely slower than the Artificer. We definitely should consider swapping the speed of the 2 weapons. I just think the speed of the Artificer blocking Chainsword is a bit more akin to a Relic weapon. It feels unique as, you know, basically it's the fastest Chainsword. So I just don't understand why it would be Artificer if it is actually a top tier blocking weapon. It's pretty interesting to see. But the balanced weapon being so slow, I think this is definitely a oversight. This definitely feels like some sort of balancing mistake. 1+ speed on the balanced Chainsword just doesn't sit right for me. I mean, to be honest, you could keep the Artificer Chainsword this fast as long as you give the Relic version the same property of, you know, having a very fast swing speed. But as far as the balanced weapon goes, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, the speed should be buffed a little bit, but I think their intention was to make sure the balanced version kind of had its own unique traits. Still, regardless, the balanced Chainsword is not in a good spot looking at that speed. I could see me just using it as like a parry tool. But like with balanced weapons, you really want duelist. You really want duelist with balanced weapons, so your windows for parries are practically fencing, and then you get the benefits of using a balanced weapon. But here it doesn't seem like there are any, so there aren't any real benefits to using this balanced Chainsword over fencing or the blocking version. So I don't know. Yeah, these Chainswords are definitely a little wonky. They definitely need an update in their balance for sure. You would think, but same goes for Purple Power Sword. The block one does 15 damage, and the Relic one that does the most is 12, and it's balanced, and it feels like a sponge. Oh, wow. 12 damage is actually pretty high. I wonder what that entails. As far as for the Power Sword, I guess that's just, you know, the peak of the damage, because that is interesting. 12 damage feeling like a sponge is not a good look for the Power Sword. But yeah, the blocking one has 15 damage. The Artificer blocking Chainsword has 15 damage. That definitely doesn't sound right. I do think some of these stats are a little bit, yeah, they feel a little bit misdirected. I feel like some of the stats are definitely just not as organized as we would want them. I think I heard a couple people talk about how they would want the stats to be updated a little bit. Something like this just feels not great. I will say, if you give the blocking Power Sword 16 damage, I still think it's a balanced weapon, you know what I mean? It's actually balanced. I didn't think the listed stats actually meant anything at this point outside of speed. Like, the block Power Fist hits for less than the fencing one according to listed stats, but that's definitely not true in game. Now, this is interesting. They definitely go into this subject underneath this thread here as far as the Power Fist balance goes. But I have heard this complaint a few times about how the listed stats aren't very accurate to what we see in game. I am curious to what is the discrepancy, because if it's like cleave potential or something, I'm not too sure the Chainsword has any cleave at least listed, but it could be like shadow cleave or something, you know? Like the block Power Fist hits for less than the fencing one, according to listed stats. Yeah, see, that's very confusing. We definitely need some sort of update for the stats, or at least, maybe even a data mine to see if the stats are actually accurate or not. That would be kind of interesting. Let me know in the comments if you have any information on the exact reason why you think the stats for certain melee weapons don't line up for their higher rarity counterparts. But yeah, I want to go into this Power Fist conversation because it seems like they have a good discussion underneath this. The Relic block Power Fist does just straight up do less damage than its other Relic counterparts, based on the data mine stats. Oh, okay, this is exactly what I was looking for. It's a bad weapon, and people avoid it for a reason. 8 days ago, I think, yeah, this was during when the Power Fist was buffed, for sure. I mean, you know, it was after the Power Fist was buffed. When people run Block Fist, they're usually using the Artificer one, which has the highest damage out of all the Power Fists. See, I actually didn't know this. I thought the blocking Artificer Chainsword was the unique thing about that. As far as like balance goes, I really thought the blocking Artificer Chainsword was the only one that kind of scaled really high. But this is interesting. The Artificer blocking Power Fist? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I should definitely try that out. That is pretty interesting. Its slow speed doesn't matter much because you're only using charge attacks with the fist, which isn't impacted by the speed stat. Oh, yeah, he has a great point. That's 100% true. Well, after testing it, yep, the lower tier Block Fist does do more damage. Still not enough to put Majors into execute from a full power ground pound though, which is disappointing. Yeah, okay, that's a fair point right there because I've also had issues with the full power ground pound with the Power Fist as well. I do think the last time I jumped on Power Fist, though, I think I was using Balance, I believe. I think I was using the Relic Balance version with the, you know, obviously with the Assault class, getting some parries. It was like a Gunstrike build, I believe. But the Balanced Power Fist is so good, man. It is kind of weird, though. Lower tier Block Fist does more damage. Like, exactly what would be the reason about that? The speed is mostly irrelevant, but the Artificer Block Fist does have some additional recovery time between half-charge punch strings over the Relic Balance Fist. The Balance Fist also will one-punch Majors to execute, so I'm kind of torn about this. The Balance Fist will one-punch Majors to execute. Dude, the Power Fist is so good, but it is honestly kind of funny how it's also, you know, a very random stat-based weapon as well, like, you know, compared to the Chainsword. I did not know the Power Fist got this complicated. Dude, I haven't used the Power Fist in so long. This definitely makes me want to use some charge attacks. Just hearing people talk about, like, you know, charge punch strings over the Relic Balance Fist. You know, I just want to hear charge attacks and how many charge attacks it takes to get a Majors in execution, and then that's all I need to get into the mood for this game, I swear. I just don't understand their choice of making it so slow. Like, I get that some weapons should be faster than others, but man, one speed on a Chainsword. One speed on a Chainsword. Why is that way a Dreadnought? Especially when the block variant does more damage and it's faster, that makes even less sense. Oh, they're saying why does the Chainsword weigh like a Dreadnought? Because it's slow and heavy. That's actually kind of funny. One speed on a Chainsword. Yeah, I will say, at the very least, out of all this, I do think we need some adjustments to the way stats are distributed with these weapons. I think it's fine having like the blocking Artificer Power Fist have the, you know, the highest damage for whatever reason. I guess that's fine. The things that bug me is Relic weapons having like crippled stats, essentially. Like where, yeah, the Chainsword is a perfect example of this because it's a Relic tier Chainsword with one speed. That doesn't make any sense. We definitely need some sort of, you know, insight on why it's like that. I genuinely can't like think of a reason why a balanced Chainsword with like 3 or 4 speed would somehow feel broken or OP in any sense. I think it would just feel like a regular Chainsword. The only reason I would accept this for the most part would be that they just wanted certain weapons to feel more unique. And honestly, I'm not like super against having Artificer weapons having something unique to them that make them stand out. I mean, that's fine. It kind of just gives us more weapons to use, essentially. But overall, we definitely have some discrepancy in the Relic tier section of the Chainsword and the Power Fist, where we are seeing Relic tier weapons underperform, and then Artificer weapons practically just perform very well. So I don't know. I would definitely like to see some Relic weapons kind of change. It's kind of a shame, though. We went through so many topics when it comes to the PTS on what to balance. I feel like this isn't a priority, I feel like. But for the most part, this is definitely something I would like to see either explained, or at the very least something that the devs could just point out, like, hey, this is something that's weird, we might be able to fix this, but for now we don't see it breaking the game. So I don't know, I can understand why it's not a priority, you know, like the Artificer tier blocking Power Fist is the strongest melee weapon in the game as far as damage goes. Who cares? Actually, is it stronger than the Thunderhammer? I will say the Thunderhammer doesn't really have any of these problems. The Thunderhammer's just slow.